All right. Good evening. We'll continue learning Torah Samech 60 to sort of like just refresh what we're dealing with. We are attempting to perform a very, very high tikkun that is called Tikkunei Atik. It's the rectification of Atik, of the Kesser. It's the highest Bechina there is. And when those tikkunim of Atik are being performed, then the person is zoicha to, a tremendous assurance, tremendous wealth, and which enables a person to achieve unbelievable insight into Torah. As Rabbeinu says, there are shvilim, there are lanes in the Torah that they have an immense insight. And in order to be able to achieve, to perceive that kind of depth, a person needs a great wealth. Great wealth. Now, we also said that the way to achieve that great wealth is, a person can say, who am I? This kind of insight, I'm not shaykh to this, tikkun atik. What I don't even know what atik is, So Rabbeinu says the way that this is achieved is by lengthening your days. And this everybody can do. Lengthening your days means that when you start the day and you're emerging the katnos, you're in a constricted consciousness, as it were, and you're not really into Avodas Hashem, to get up in the morning or to make a minion, whatever it is. So you add, Rabbi Statner will come with the drinks and the popcorn a bit later. He called and so this is something which is shaykh to every person. To increase kedusha, you wake up in the morning small-minded, and you increase more and more kedusha as you go throughout the day. You daven, you do this, you do that. It's not an easy way, because it's not an easy journey, because one step forward, two step backwards, whatever. But whatever the avodah is, that you add more and more kedusha every single day. So when Rabbeinu says that adding kedusha every single day means you have to be mechadish b'chol yom ma'aseh bereshis. It says the Rambam says that a person needs to resemble his creator. So the Rambam says, "Ma'u rachum, you have to be rachum. Ma'u chanun, you have to be chanun." Who give everything is whatever the midas of Hakadosh Baruch Hu you need to do. Hakadosh Baruch Hu is renewing Ma'aseh Bereshis, is restarting, recreating Ma'aseh Bereshis at all times. So the same thing you need to do. How do you do it? He says you renew every day. You renew something every day. Either anybody, somebody that is bar hachi and can be mechadish kedusha Torah. So this is what you should do. Somebody can, maybe go to shul earlier. And then there's somebody that renews himself. I can't do any of that, but he renews himself with ritzonos chadashim, with new will, new impetus, to serve HaKadosh Baruch Hu and to wish that I will be able to add Kedusha every single day. That's also a Chidush. It's also adding Kedusha. Wherever you are is adding Kedusha. And that, when this is the thing that creates the vessel, the receptacle for Kedusha, and the way to do it is the Yira. So we learned last week, we said that the Yira has three, Shlemus HaYira includes three lines, Mora Shemayim, Mora Rabcha, and Mora Avim. And we explained that Mora Rabcha means reflecting upon the greatness of the Kodesh Baruch Hu. This is the Yira of the Rav, that he's using his seichel, to ponder and to look into the Gedula of Hashem. And we said that this Yira has to be with the three kinds of mental faculties that are by a person, which is Chochmah, Bina, and Das, which is wisdom, comprehension, and knowledge. We explained Chochmah means the initial idea, initial spark. The Bina means that you expound on it, you analyze it, you comprehend it. And the Das means that you store it in your memory. It's Chochmah, Bina, Das. So all those three, each one of those three columns, each one is comprised of three as well. So the first one is the Moyer Rav, which consists of three parts. You have to have the Moshe Desira, Chochmah, Bina, Vadas. Okay? All right. The second thing we said, it says the Talmidim. The Talmidim is they have a Yira from the Rav. It says Yira Rav. They have an awe from the Rav. They're scared. And the children, the Bonim has Mera Avim, they have, the fear of I don't know if fear is the right way of Mera Avim, that we, this tremendous respect and yira from their parents. And it says that these three are combined of three. The first one is the Rav, Mera Shamayim, he ponders the Gdol of Kodesh Baruch Hu. Then we says the year of the Talmud. We also explained. We said that this is when the Talmud learns. He learns Torah. Torah is combined. It's called a Torah Klisa, a triangular Torah. Is Torah, Nevi'im, and Ksuvim. The three parts of the Torah, and we explained that the Mora of the Talmud is actually the Mora of every person who is learning Torah. Whenever it is you learn Torah, you should learn Torah with Yira. It's not that you want to. Wow, this is interesting. It's like, wow, that's fascinating. It's like I'm really good at this. Wow, check me out. I'm coming out looking like a new King Kong, but the thing is that when you learn Be'ira, the idea is that you learn the greatness of Torah with Yira, so you can be Mekayim everything that you learn. The idea is you learn halacha, that halacha is so and so. So it's not just okay, so the halacha and so. All right, says who? All these kind of like. You learn with Yira. This is called the Yira of the Talmud. And then the last thing that we learned last week was about Mera Avim. That's the fear, the trepidation, the intimidation, you could call it, that children need to have from their parents, and to be intimidated by them, in a good way. And we explained that this has to also be divided into three. What are we talking about? We said it last week. What are we talking about? We're saying the area of the Ben. He says the era of the son, it's mostly applies on the money that he gets as Yerusha from his parents. That's the thing that parents leave on to their children. Now, obviously, so what we're actually talking about is the yira should apply to one's money. It's not just when you're with your Rav, it's not just when you're learning Torah, but it's also in your business. And this is what we said, that the Yiras Haben, the introduction of Yir Shamayim into one's monetary world. It says it corresponds with that which Chazal gave, supposedly like an Eitz Tova, that a person should always divide his money into three. A third he should put in business, and a third he should put in, invest in real estate, in the ground, and the third he should keep it available. If a good deal comes along, he'll be able to do it. So we said the thing that where we finished last week is that the first third is pragmatia, is business. When you're doing business, you should do the business with your Shemayim. Comes the question, why does anybody need to do business? Why do you have to do ishtadlus? Why is this around? It's a Bamidbar, the Gatman every day. What's the so the reason for it is because a person needs to have free choice. When a person believes, when a person does business with Yir Shamayim, it means that he believes that his sustenance comes from a Kodesh Baruch Hu. So, every Rosh Hashanah, a person has already decreed what he's going to have. So why do I have to do business? Why do I have to do ishtadlus? And am I going to get whatever comes to me on Rosh Hashanah even without doing ishtadlus? The answer is no. The reason why is because you need to do the ishtadlus to the degree that will really test your emunah. Do you believe that the Kodesh Baruch Hu was giving you? Or listen, you really made a good deal. You have a nose for these things. You're something special. You have a nose for these things. You know how to do it and when to do it. So the shtados always have to be commensurate up to the point where it's difficult. To be chazak b'yira, or to say I'm a self-made man. If you do less, there's no test there. And you're not going to get what is coming to you. If you don't do enough ishtadlus that is shaykh to your degree of yira, you're not going to get it. The Chofetz Chaim says that Kadosh Baruch Hu wants to make a person poor, he makes them lazy. So a person doesn't do the ishtadlus that he needs to do in order to bring to himself to face this test. Do I believe that the Kadosh Baruch Hu has given me? Or do I believe that it is my ken, my wit, my expertise, is the thing that brings it to me? How can you tell? How can you tell if you're really Rishamayim with your business or Chas v'Chalila? The answer is, when you're doing business, are you trying to help HaKadosh Baruch Hu along? Meaning, you make a little shortcut. You take something which is not yours. Maybe you're dealing with some practices that are not really 100%, whatever. You're like, you're giving HaKadosh Baruch Hu a hand. HaKadosh Baruch Hu, he has to feed the entire world. And, it comes to me, maybe he's tired, I need to help him. This is how you can test whether you believe that Kodesh Baruch Hu, or whether you are the one who is actually causing it to happen. And we said this these three parts of Ashirus, the first one in Pragmatia, this is the first one is mentioned. This is the Torah mentions three times the union of Ashirus, of wealth. One time in Sdom, one time in Yaakov Avinu going to the field and speaking to his wives before they leave Lavan. And his wife says, all the wealth that HaKadosh Baruch Hu has retrieved from our father belongs to us and to our children. And the third time is by the shkolim. Pas shkolim, everyone's supposed to give half a shekel, and when you give half a shekel, you need to they said the ashir, the wealthy man, should not give more, and the poor man should not give less. So the Shlishim Pragmatia, this corresponds with what it says about Sdom. Sdom were the people of Sdom, before it turned over, now there's nothing there. There's just salt and whatever, the Dead Sea or whatnot, whatever it is, in that area. But in those days, that was the most fertile ground in Eretz Yisrael. And they lived there. They were very wealthy. They didn't want people to come, from different places to do business with them, because when somebody comes to do business with you, when somebody comes to do business with you, his idea is to make profit off you. And the people of Sdom says profit of us. Forget about it. They say about talk about Midas Sdom, the Midah of Sdom, and they say that there was a very big rabbi, very, very big rabbi, that his wife, La Alina, passed away. And and it was time to get remarried. So who should he marry? Who is befitting to this rabbi? So the rabbi said, "You know what I want." The Gemara says that anybody who has a bad wife, a mean wife, does not see Gehenna. Doesn't see Gehenna. So the rabbi said, "I want the biggest klaf that there is, the biggest machashefester. I want like the worst. It's like this. I cleanse myself in this world. Big Yeshamayim, big rabbi. I want totally. So they checked by one wife and they checked her out and said, it's not so. Then the second one, she's pretty bad, but that doesn't clean you from Gehenna completely. And finally they found one. Chaval Asman is this here. This is it. She is, she's the jackpot. Like, Abba Chashefes, like this, you've never met anything like it. Abba says, okay. So they make a shidduch, they get married, and time passes, a week, 2, 3, 4, whatever it is, and she's so generous, and she's so, she's so accommodating, and she's so polite, and she's so warm. What's going on? So he goes to the shadchan. He says, "What is this? It's a mekachtos. Well, I asked you to find me, a wife of mean shebemean, and you got me this. She's like an angel." So give her a little more time, maybe half a year. Maybe stop. She got married now, so she still be nice. But her true colors will be shown over time. And half a year passes. She's an angel. So finally, the rabbi cannot take it anymore, and he speaks to her about it. He says, "I don't understand. You had this reputation of being like the meanest, the worst of the worst. And here I see that you behave like an angel. What's going on? So she said, on my back, you want to spare yourself from Gehenna? Talk about Sdom. You want to be safe from Gehenna for me? Not a chance, Buster. No, so this is Sdom, So somebody else should not benefit through you. So we also said, that on the other hand, you have Masa Matan Be'emuna, this is Yisachar. Yisachar, that has a deal with Zvulun, that, Zvulun and Yisachar, and Smach, sorry, that's about Zvulun. In Zvulun, it says, Smach Zvulun B'tzeisecha, Zvulun is going out, to do Masa Matan, to business. And the meaning of the business he was doing is that it says by Basdom, it says anishkachim niregel, those that are forgotten from regel. Regel is the Indian of a soicher. So it says they want to be mevatel b'chinas regel. Smach zvulun b'tzeisecha. Zvulun, you should rejoice when you're going out. Going out means you have to walk out, you have to go out. So we're saying going out represents doing business. He was doing it l'shem shamayim. He was doing it. So that's why you need dafka masa matan. You have to do business, and the business is to be done with Yos Shamayim. And when you're zoicher to do that part, when you put the yira into your business, you are afraid of touching somebody else's penny. When they asked Rabbi Avraham Nachman, what does it mean, to judge, for a person to judge himself every day? So he said, Yenem's kopika, the small penny in Russia, they used to call a kopika, a little penny. So it's a Yenem's kopika. It says to judge a person every day means judging a person, judging to see whether you actually retained a penny that belongs to somebody else. And be very, very careful. Be very, very careful not to touch somebody else's money. This is the midah of the yira that applies to business. Now comes the second one. It says shlish, a third in karka, in real estate, in ground, to buy ground. Rabbeinu said this applies to your view of amassing money, of amassing wealth. When you can be masamatan be'emuna, Baruch Hashem, everything is fine. But why are you amassing all this money with all this wealth? Why are you working on it? Begashmius. We're not talking about. The idea is you should not do it in order to make the Forbes 500. That you shouldn't do it in order to enjoy luxuries in this world. The reason why you're doing it is to be zoich to those paths in Torah that have amazing insight into Torah. That you can reach it without tremendous wealth. If you actually amass your wealth for that reason, that is very, very good. But if not, what is money? Money is shtus. So this is what he says. Why? So the karka the money, the shlisha bekarka, the third invested in the ground, is keneged amassing wealth. What is your purpose that you are amassing this wealth? So comes the question, what is the kesher between, investing in the ground and an isha? Because it says the shlisha bekarka ukeneged ashir sheniskar etzel rochel v'leah. The third that is in the ground, that's the wealth that is mentioned in the Torah by Rochel and Leah when Yaakov Avinu called them to the field and said that Kodesh Baruch Hu told him to return to Eretz Israel. And so he asked them, what's Messiah for them, and they said, all the wealth that Kodesh Baruch Hu has rescued from our father, they said, Lanu u'levanenu. It belongs to us and to our children. V'ata, kol asher yomar alecha Elokim aseh. And you, whatever Kodesh Baruch Hu tells you to do, you do. So he says, Ki be'emet, he says, Ikar Ashiras, the main wealth, the main kavona of wealth, Rak b'shvil izbeinanus, it's only for that insight into Torah. That should be the aim, why you need to be so wealthy. Avraham Avinu was a billionaire. Yitzchak Avinu was a billionaire. Yaakov Avinu went with his stick. He crossed the Jordan River just with his stick. He didn't have anything. I mean, when he came back a billionaire again. What? Why? What for? He said he started with, Lavan give him, a certain, made a t'nai, Lavan cheated him, tried to change the deal again and again and again and again. And Kodesh Baruch Hu didn't let him. And everything that Yaakov Avinu touched prospered. Everything that Yitzchak Avinu touched prospered. Everything Avraham Avinu touched prospered. Why? What do you need all this money for? Because they need this money in order to be zocher to this insight into Torah, which is not possible unless you have such tremendous amount of wealth. But, so this is what Rachel told him. He says, all the wealth that Kadosh Baruch Hu rescued from our father, who's it good for? Lanu u'levanenu. For women, it says, this ketana das, people that have, small das and children, whatever it is, it's a toy. What do you want to buy? A Bugatti? You want to buy a Lamborghini? What do you want to buy? You want to buy like a big farm? There's an actor that bought himself a chunk of land in Canada that is big of many, many countries. I don't know if you know, there was an American author that used to write Western stories, Louis L'Amour. You remember him? So he used to write these Western short little books, whatever it is, and he made a mint. So much. He was just sitting. He didn't deal with money at all. He just sat by his typewriter, and he kept on typing and writing more and more books. His wife is the one that handled everything. They lived in Arizona, and they bought themselves a land, again, which is bigger than some states. Why? What are you going to do with it? There's a billionaire that sold a yacht that is a tender. In other words, that's the one that keeps the supplies for a billionaire woman that has a bigger yacht, a major yacht. Okay? So in this smaller yacht, which costs, I don't know, $100 million, I don't know how much it costs, the smaller one. This is they have a submarine, and they have an aquarium, and they have helicopters, and they have whatever it is, and they have all the supplies for the big yacht. As we said before, this is like a dog that is chasing cars. If they catch the car, what are you going to do with it? It's like, I don't know. It's just like the whole thing is just a shtus. So this is what they told him. All the wealth that Hakadosh Baruch Hu retrieved from our father is only good for somebody like us and Baneno that has a small mind. It doesn't mean they're stupid, chas v'chalila, but they have a small mind. But you, Yaakov Avinu, you need the wealth for something completely different. You need the wealth for this, his beinus, for this insight. But you need this ashirus for great insight in the Gdula of HaKadosh Baruch Hu. And this is the third of one's resources that need to be put in real estate, in the ground. Comes the question, what on earth does ground have to do with what Rachel and Leah said to Yaakov Avinu? In some Masechah Sanhedrin, there are various issues about women that if they are being coerced, the Gabe Inyan of Arayos, if they are being coerced against their will, that they're potter. They're potter, they're not chayav. What can they do? I mean, a man cannot be potter because he has to be the one who's doing the act. He's the one who's forcing himself. But women is just, and this is when they coined that Isha Karka Oilam. A woman, in this particular manner, has the deen of Karka Oilam. She's like the ground. What can she do? What? Yeah. She's like Karka Oilam. This is what they said about Esme Chashverosh. The whole, according to the Deas, that she wasn't Isha Karka Oilam. She's not chayav. It's an oinus. So you see that by a woman there is an essence in which she is called karka. She is called earth. She's called karka oilam. So this whole inyan to learn that wealth, if it's not for Hizbayinus, is only for women and children. You learn from shlish bakarka, a third in the ground. This is what the Rebbe teaches us. And another person needs to use the ashiris for his beinunus, and to understand that if you're not using your wealth for his beinunus, the wealth is only good for women and children. Buy whatever it is and do, cosmetic surgery. I don't know. The shlish beyodel, the last third that we're talking about, who keneged ashiris shetzel shkolim. This is about the third time that the word ashiris is mentioned in the Torah, and that talks about the shkolim, that the wealthy should not give more than half a shekel, and that the poor person should not give half than half a shekel. That's the third time. So what are we talking about? Shlisha beyodel. What are the shkolim? What were the shkolim for? It says, "Shene'emar lechaper al nafloseichem." Let it be a kapara. When Haman wanted to finish off all the Yidden, Rabbi Weiss, if you need tissues, I have. Okay. So, by the Shkolim, they say, "Lechaper nafloseichem." When Haman, gave all the money to Achashverosh to let him, Chas v'Chalila, do whatever he wanted with the Jews, I don't know. You need to do what he wanted with the Jews. So the Shechina says, "Chayecha shikleim kodmim leshkalecha." Their shkalim they gave in the midbar come before your shkalim, and they already neutralized the power that you of the money that you gave to Achashverosh, to Chas v'Chayil to do whatever it is he wanted to do. So lechaper for shoseichem. Here we're talking about this is to atone on your nefesh, on your soul. To atone for you means to save you, to save a person from bad things that Chas v'Chayil can happen to him. So in the Shkol lechaper for shoseichem, what is that to do with it? What is it to do with your hand? Shoseichem. He says, Rabbeinu says, "Bebechinas asher beyado nefesh kol chai v'ruach kol b'sar ish." The Kodesh Baruch Hu's hand is nefesh kol chai, the living spirit of everything that is alive. The ruach kol b'sar ish, and the spirit of every living person, every person of flesh. It's in the hands of a Kodesh Baruch Hu. So the shlisha beyadoi is talking about the kapara for the person who is giving this shkolim. It wasn't to do with Yoda, it wasn't to do with it in his hand. He says, because your neshama is in the hands of the Kodesh Baruch Hu. So that's why it's called a hand. What's the purpose of it? The purpose is kapara. Now we're talking about the third type of yira. The first one was, within wealth, is do masamatan be'emuna. You have to do ishtadlus. How much ishtadlus you need to do? You need to do enough ishtadlus to the point that it already tempts you to think that you're a self-made man. You're the one who actually made the money. So, and if you don't do ishtadlus, you're not going to get the money that is allotted to you from Rosh Hashanah. You need to do the ishtadlus. Each one according to how much emunah he has, how much yira he has, and so forth and so on. The second one is so you have to do masamatan be'emunah. This is how you have your shemaim in the business you do. The second one we just learned, and this is like, what is the purpose that you're making all this money? You should do it for his beinunus, for insight into Torah, not for shtisim. The third one talks about tzedakah. The third of the shkolim talks about tzedakah, because tzedakah totzel mimavis. It says the nefesh is a bechinas yad. It says that the shirs of the shkolim is called the yad, the shlisha beyodoi. Since a person needs a lot of money in order to give a lot of tzedakah, you need to use it, and when a person does that, he will be zoicha to atone on the nefesh that depends on the hand of HaKadosh Baruch Hu. And this is the inyan that the yira has to be also going into that part of Ashiras. The money that you're making is not for you. Isn't it? You are not the one who made the money come. You have to look why you're making the money for his beinunus. And the third part is give tzedakah. You have money in order to give tzedakah. There's all kinds of arguments, how much you need to give. Malacha, they said, the Gemara says, a mebazbeh is somebody who is spreading out, who's spending, should not spend, for tzedakah, should not spend more than chomish, than 20%. The halacha says this is only by a normal person. This is why only 20%. So you won't come to a situation where you will need other people to give you money. So, manage your resources properly. Top 20%. However, it says, La Aloha, this is only by normal people. But people that are very wealthy, says they need to give a lot more than just 20%. If they know what's good for them, they will give 50% and more if they have enough. Our friend Eliyahu Meirav Zichrono Livracha used to give always 20%, and at certain times in his life, he said they were the most prosperous time in his life is when he gave 50% of his money to tzedakah. He says giving the 50%, opened up amazing shefa to himself.
Isn't the halakha to give 10%?
Halacha is 10%. I mean, 10% of the money you're making. The Mida Meuderis is 20%. Now, regarding a very important point, regarding chayvus, what do? A person that has debts, serious debts, should you give Maisa? Or should you not give Maisa? So, first of all, the answer is the Maisa itself you cannot give. There's two shitas. There is the Sephardi shita, and there is the Ashkenazi shita. The Sephardi shita says if you are Baal Chov, in other words, you're not making enough money in order to service your debts, you service your debts. You're parted from Maisa. The Ashkenazim say, this is what you need to do. But whatever money you make, write it down. Not the Kadosh Baruch Hu will give you money, you'll know how much money you owe for Maisa. This is the two shitas in that particular area. What's the basic assumption behind this Indian that if you owe money, don't give Maisa. Doesn't mean don't give anything. It doesn't mean that. But don't give.
Another shita that Breslov Rob suggested, like you pair up with somebody who also is having difficulty, and you give him Meiser and he gives you Meiser.
Okay.
And like so, you both gave.
And okay.
Be the same amount, but at least it counts.
Okay. I can see that. But Lemaisa, what the reason why I'm saying what I'm saying is why when a person is a Baal Chov, he should not give Meiser. The answer is, it's not your money. It's not your money. This is the money of your debtors. You can't give away money that's not yours. So we said that you have to, you have to sustain yourself. This is what it says. But nevertheless, things that are beyond sustaining yourself, you have no permission to spend your money on them. It's not your money. Now, B'ezrat Hashem, because of the fact that we have actually spoke about all these inyonim, Kadosh Baruch Hu should help us. After we already mentioned that there are paths in Torah, that they have great insight, that you can't come to this insight unless you have wealth. And to come to this wealth is by lengthening your days, by adding Kedusha every single day. You're supposed to perform, to enact the Tikkun Atik, the rectification of the highest level that there is, Atik, which is Kesser. We say that this is the receptacle to get the Ashurs. And he says, and to get the Arichas Yom itself, we said we have to have Yira. We already analyzed, the Yira, what kind of Yira you're supposed to have, where you're supposed to implement this Yira, in pondering the greatness, His Bainus, and the greatness of Kadosh Baruch Hu. That's Yira Sarav. And then we had Yira in learning Torah. Whatever you're learning, when you learn it with Yira, you're learning in order to perform it, in order to do it. Not because it's fascinating and it's brilliant and it's so deep. It's like, wow, this is like that. Not for that. And the third one is the different kinds of money, should do with the money. Okay. So now we know all this is done through Europe. Now, I think we probably should begin this next week. But then comes the question, okay, how do you get Europe? If Europe is the key, how do you get it? This B'ezrat Hashem, we will ponder Mitzvah Hashem and learn what is from Bli Neder next week. I want to tell you a little story before has to do with tzedakah. I don't know what. Now I'm telling you straight ahead. I have no idea if this story is true. Okay, like any good Hasidic Maisa.
A tale or a tale.
I don't know. I think Hasidic Maisa is it happened, and if it didn't happen, it could have happened. Okay. So this tale that I'm going to tell you, it falls into this category because there are people that say that it 100% happened this way, and there's people who are close to this person who say that it didn't happen this way. I don't know. The Gemara says as follows: everybody knows Shiner from Oman. That's the biggest orchim in the world. They're feeding tens of thousands of people twice a day. Tens of thousands, and not just feeding. You get meat, you get potatoes, you get chicken, you get hamburgers, and drinks. Yeah. So the person who started it, his name is Louis Shiner, Eliezer Shiner. Louis Shiner is Baruch Hashem, a very wealthy guy. And so the Maisa goes, how did it hold start? The Rebbe says, in every generation, I'm going to give you one person of serious means to take care of you. That's what the Rebbe said. Because the rest of you are going to be, you're going to be basically paupers. There's like but I'm going to make sure of it. The Rebbe says, I'm going to put one person with all the means necessary, to take care of the rest of you. So the Maisa goes as follows: that the Eliezer Shiner did not have children. So people told him that he should go to Uman, should go to Rabbi Nachman. And he went. That was years ago. You can go to Kiev, whatever it is. He went to Kiev. I don't know, he had a limo take him, whatever it is. And when he came to Uman and he saw what's going on, we know what's going on in Uman. Uman is the only thing that it needs is a Ferris wheel to be an amusement park. There's everything. There's literally everything. And yeah, there's everything. There is a meat restaurant. Yeah. You went for a Shoshana. Yeah. So he went for a Shoshana, and he looked and he saw what's happening, and he was utterly disgusted at what was going on there. He decided he's not staying. He's taking his limo, Erev Shoshana in the morning to Kiev, plane out. So before he actually went away, he stopped by the Tzion. Early in the morning, he stopped by the Tzion. And he stayed there. He was wearing, big dechol. and he stayed by the tzin. Nobody knows what was going on with him. By the time he came out, it was already yontif. It was already yontif. And he was wearing big dechol. This is when he came out of the tzin. And he started that achnos sorchin. And Baruch Hashem, he was, he has a son, he has children, and Baruch Hashem is a tzedakah. Here's a person that has money and he uses it. He does it together with another person. There are two shutim, the two partners that are doing it. So I think a couple of years ago, they have nursing homes in many states. And the states, I think it was the corona, whatever it is, did not pay the money that they owed them. Because people, part is paid by either Medicaid or Social Security, whatever it is and they were owed hundreds of millions of dollars. So supposedly Louis Shiner said to his partner, we have to cut down, on the stuff that we give. Maybe, you should not do what we're doing in Oman. So his partner said, if you want to get out of this, get out of this. I'm going to do it. I don't know if it happened. So a friend of mine and my son, who was a friend of Louis Shiner, he came to Louis Shiner and told him, I know you. I know you. I know who you are. You're a wild animal. He told him. To be so wealthy, you got to be a stout. You know what I'm saying? He says, don't you dare play around with the rebels. Just don't you dare. No, he told him, I dare you to touch it. I dare you to touch it. And since then, he opened the same kind of compound that is open all year round in Monsey. In Monsey, they have shtivlach, and there's food, and there's drink. There's even fresh newspapers in the bathrooms. If you want, they want to read papers. Yeah. This I know that it's a fact. Everything else, maybe it happened, maybe it didn't happen that way. But whatever it is, just to see it, there's another man who doesn't have even the beginning of the wealth that he's feeding people in Oman all year long. His name is Gilad Atash. And he gives lunches every day, gives sandwiches to everybody that comes and drinks, whatever it is, all year long. People come, people live in Oman, people. Shabbos he gives kiddushim, sudos, whatever. He does it all year long, on a much smaller scale, obviously. But I don't know if you were in Oman, maybe you saw the posters to help Gilad Atash. And I saw those posters. I didn't even know, what is this? Is he a rabbi that wants Hasidah? I didn't know what it's about. The poster's not done that well, as far as fundraising is concerned. But nevertheless, Baruch Hashem, he's just Mesiras Nefesh. He just, whatever it is, he gets money, he goes to the market, he buys, he makes soup, he gives this, that. Money does not stay in. This happens all year long. Baruch Hashem. Ashrehem, Ashrei Chelkam, Bezrat Hashem. Yichelkeinu imahem, Bezrat Hashem. Kol Tov, and Bezrat Hashem with Shabbos, and we'll meet him, Bezrat Hashem, next week. By the way, we have a shir, Motzei Shabbos. You are welcome. In the meantime, it's just Rabbi Wise and myself. But you're welcome to a Zoom. It's a short here. Share. It's like 25 minutes. Motzei Shabbos, 9 o'clock. About half an hour, 25 minutes, half an hour. Sipur Baal Shem Tov, Sichas Haran, and a little bit of the Parsha that we just passed down. So I will put it on, the WhatsApp thing. Right. So I'll put it on Also Shabbos, I'll put it on Shurim, and you're welcome to come. Kol Tuv, good Shabbos. Rat Hashem Zoicher to Yeshua Shleimo. Rat Hashem, Binya V'Sameg Migdash, and Bias Mashiach Tzidkenu B'Zat Hashem, soon in our days, B'Zat Hashem. Kol Tuv.